I haven't connected my laptop to the phone yet. My laptop yet, so I am just going to connect. Like the mic really makes a difference to my voice or not? Let me know. Like now, I am going to connect.
Was my customer service skill, and then I said, if you with this conversation or this interview goes on long enough,
Yeah, I have connected now to the mic. Now, am I audible? Like, is there a change in my voice? Okay. So we just ended with the question like, what are the highest and the lowest points in your life? Right. So I think yesterday, like many didn't get a chance to speak about like the highest and lowest point. Does anybody want to go on that? And the next question we will discuss will be the difficulties related to internal medicine or any of your specialty you're going to apply to in the future. And the second question will be, how will you design a curriculum? Like if a program director asks us, how will we design a curriculum? If you have to design a curriculum for the program, that was one of the questions asked last year.
yeah, okay, okay, yeah,
Right.
okay, 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 thank you.
क्या कहते हैं?
Is there a problem with my network?
It kind of seems like that.
There's no electricity. Yeah. I think I'll be like now I'm audible.
You're audible, but your video is very poor.
Yeah, now I think it will improve because I've connected to better Wi-Fi. I could connect to that. So we should just proceed with the question. Anybody wants to talk about the highest and the lowest points?
पूजा करने के ये नियम आपको जरूर पता होंगे.
I'll have to mute someone. Do we have Dr. Sourav today with us, or anybody like Dr. Sourav or Om with us, Dr. Om or Samyukta, Dr. Samyukta with us today? So like the question we can just move on to right now is, how will, if a program director asks us that if we have to design a curriculum for a program, for a residency program, how will we do that? Anybody wants to answer about that? Like it's okay even if your no answer is wrong, you could just put across your points. Like if you have to design a curriculum for a residency program, how will you, what points you're going to say? Like what will you keep in your mind?
Sorry, Ashman, is that the question? Like, so what, if we had to design a curriculum for the, oh, hi, good morning. So yeah, so what was the question? Could you just like repeat it once? Sorry.
First, basically, like yesterday we ended with the highest and the lowest points of your career or life. Not career, life. So yesterday we ended with that, but I just mentioned if somebody wants to talk more on that, right? Like yesterday, I think few people didn't get the chance. The second question is, if somebody asks you during the interview that if you have to design a curriculum for the residency program, how would you design that? Because it was a question that was posted in a group Like last year, they asked that person during the interview.
Damn, that's actually a tough one. Mm.
Okay. Should I go with my
So
answer?
can we? Hey Aishman. So I just wanted to put it across. So since you actually told what were the principles that you're gonna take into consideration to design a curriculum. So I have this thing in mind saying maintaining a good balance between the in the life, I would guess. If it's like work and later on to stipulated having stipulated hours and making sure the most amount of exposure to have in a resident, that is one point, and making sure they coordinate in a good manner to make the resident as a whole big family, all the residents as a whole big family. So these were the 2 points I could put across. Anyone is free to add on that, please.
I That's a very good answer, right? Yeah. So what I just framed, because it was just impromptu question in my mind right now. So what I have in my mind is, if somebody asks me, I'll give a very brief answer. I won't, waste a lot of time. I would just say, anybody wants to say what question I would expect? So the question is that if you have to design a curriculum for the residency program, how will you do that? Because it was a question posted in the WhatsApp group, our group, that it was asked to, somebody was asked this last year during the interview. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
For me, let me give it a try. Hello, everyone. So for me, if I'm asked to design a curriculum on the residency program, I will first take a look at the previous curriculum and the feedback that we're getting from those ones. Then I'll check the curriculum of other programs as well, and I'll try and marry it together while putting into consideration, like the other person said, keeping a balance between the work and the other aspects of the resident's life. So I would draw it in such a way that I would ensure that there are no gaps, and I'm also going to address everybody's needs. Okay, maybe I'm kind of mixing it up with the roster, not curriculum. Curriculum is where you get to draw what postings they get to go through, right? What postings, how many weeks they spend on each posting, everything that is necessary for to be covered in the next 3 years of the residency, right? Okay. Well, I guess that's also talking about the rotations and all that. So I'll put that into consideration. I'll ensure that everybody submits their dates or that they would like to go on leave. I'll ensure that everybody submits their I'll tell everybody to draw up the way they want it to go. Then I would sit down and draw I'm hooked. Please take over from there. Thank you.
That's a good answer, but yeah, definitely we cannot speak that much during the interview. But yeah, that's a good point. You even mentioned about very solid points. But yeah, now since you know the question, you can draft it very well and just try to keep it concise. Just mention 2 or 3 solid points without giving an example. Otherwise, it was a good answer. Because
Thank you, Dr.
The question is very tricky. Yeah. So, Dr. Om, do you have anything in your mind?
Okay, so I was thinking about this, right? I was just thinking about this, and I had a couple of points, about her, Dr. NG's answer. I thought it was really good. I think this is one of those questions that you actually need to take some time to sit and think about it. So for coming up with something on the spot, I thought it was a pretty good answer. She covered a lot of what needs to be covered, with balance and making sure everyone learns. So if for my answer to design a curriculum for internal medicine, I would basically use two things as the foundation. One is strengthening your basics and strengthening what you need to do as an internal medicine resident. And second is looking towards the future, as in seeing what the future of the specialty is and equipping our residents to engage in that in those future possibilities as much as possible. So for strengthening, I would like make them more. I would structure a curriculum that would have them be more involved in patient care from the start. Sorry, sorry. Yeah, from the beginning. And encouraging the residents to make their own decisions under supervision, of course, but giving them more autonomy from the beginning so that they learn to do the job as if they are an attending physician from day one, right? So I would structure a curriculum around that. And looking towards the future, I think functioning as part of an interdisciplinary team is very important, and it's going to develop more in the future. So I would also structure a curriculum that would increase the amount of time that an internal medicine resident spends as part of a team, so that they learn to function as a team, and both as like a team member and as a team leader, to develop like skills of both delegation as well as like following orders, and like just basically experiencing a whole team dynamic. And the second thing is right now the use of AI in medicine, like it's already like starting to like grow, and it's going to grow exponentially within the next few years. So I would like rather than just encourage residents to seek out like experiences, I would weave it into the curriculum so that all of my residents would learn the basics of AI, how it works, and how they can like implement it, maybe through workshops, maybe through research papers, literature reviews, something like that. But yeah, this would be my focus if I had to design a curriculum.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
So like three of you, Dr. Kash, Dr. Om, and Dr. NG, you gave a very good answers for sure. Like it's definitely an impromptu answer, so that way your answers are very good. I'll definitely listen to your answers again, like if I when I go through the session again, and I'll try to incorporate those points into mine.
Yeah, that was really, really good. I mean, considering the fact that AI is a big thing now, and we're getting to the future of medicine, I'll certainly incorporate AI learning, making sure residents are really, really good with AI and other technology, advanced technology. Yeah, I'll certainly do that. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good. So anybody wants to answer this question, or whatever I have, should I go with my answer? It's not a very good answer. I just made it right now in my mind. Anybody wants to answer the question, like how will you design a curriculum for internal medicine or your specialty?
Can I add something, please?
Sure. Go ahead, Dr. Alisa. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you all for this conversations, everyday practice. Second, the previous doctor answer was really amazing, but I would like to wrap it in points. We can start our discussion in a way that, first of all, I had to do some research. I will, the first step, I will do my research, I'll do my work to search about what the previous programs, what they have, and their achievements, especially programs with good repetition, and my program to know what any feedbacks or comments. Second thing, I will look into the resources that I have. This include human resources and materialistic resources. What I mean is that in terms of the AI, as you have said, and also skill lab, what techniques that we have and we need to include in the program, especially specified in special field, such as ECMO and something like that. And you have to read more about the programs that you are talking about, if they have something, if they are missing something. And also the human resources, the faculty that will teach the resident who can do this work. Third, I'm going to talk about the human being. The resident are human being. I'll take care of this aspect, including their wellness, the equity and equilibrium, and balance between work, training, and wellness. I'm just trying to wrap it into points or sectors, just to make the answer looks better. That's my comment, and thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. That was really well put together. Like I love the way you structured it. That way it will flow smoothly. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you so much.
It was a good answer. Like it was like properly structured, and it was like you prepared the answer well. Yeah. Anybody else wants to answer this question? I should go with my answer. Like anybody wants to give the answer right now, or I should go with my answer? Like what I have in my mind, so not a very good answer, but yeah, I can just put across and get your reviews.
Go ahead,
Okay, I'll just go with my answer. So that is a very interesting question. I never thought about that. Let me think about it, Dr. K. So if I get a chance to design a curriculum for a residency program, firstly, I'll make sure that the residents in that program, they get a chance to get exposure to different cases, get the maximum exposure to the different cases in that program, and that program caters to the diverse population. Secondly, I will keep in while designing, I'll keep in mind the resident well-being as well, because the residents are somebody who are going to work for longer shifts, longer time in the hospital. So I'll make sure that the program even promotes the resident well-being so that they can keep a check on their mental, physical, and overall well-being. Thirdly, I will keep in my mind that program involves also gives the maximum best care to our patients as well. So these are the 3 points that I will keep in mind while designing the program. It was a very bad answer. Just give your reviews now, or anybody else wants to answer.
No, you did very well, Dr. Ishma. I like that. I mean, you all those things are very absolutely necessary, and they're things that keeps the balance between work and, because a happy doctor is a happy patient, right? So you need to make your residents really happy,
Okay,
Yeah.
and after this, I could just add those points like about AI, interdisciplinary teams, and like the points you
Yeah.
guys mentioned. I can just incorporate, but that is what I had in my answer, that I don't want to make it very long. But I
Yeah,
want to
and
make
don't
something
forget
that
mentorship too. Mentorship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think when it comes to like, I liked your answer, Ayushman. I think you hit on like all the all really good points. The only thing that again that needs to be fleshed out is they're asking how would you design it, right? So say a point and then bring out a specific as to what you would do to further that point. Like for example, like when you said about your mental wellness thing, and then you said like you would create like a resident mental wellness. The thing maybe go into like a little bit more specific. Like will that be like a on-site counselor, like that you can reach to, or like a helpline, something like that. Like what would you do specifically,
Okay.
right? Like again, because at the end of the day, any answer that you give, when you give specifics, it shows that you've really thought about it. So yeah.
And the
So yeah,
fourth,
just like a couple, but otherwise, like the overall, like what do you call them? The
and
topics and like the points that you hit on are valid, and yeah, they're really good. Like I think like yeah, you can move forward with this answer.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give the other, like I'll move next. But the fourth point that I missed is that I will definitely focus on my residents' reviews and feedback as well, so that I can make the desired changes in my program curriculum, so that the best teachings can be given to the residents in future as well. Yeah, that's my answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Harshita, or so the first Dr. Ajit, then we'll shift to Dr. Harshita. Or Dr. Harshita, you go. Okay, Dr. Anjali, just go with your answer, then we shift to Dr. Harshita. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aishman, for this opportunity. Okay, I haven't framed anything, but I have something in my mind which I would like to place here. Is if I get a chance to answer this question, I'll put it in a way that if I am the director and I want to frame a curriculum for my PGs or for my residents, I will always follow it in a way like it always has been, like first year, second year, third year. And I would like my first year residents to just start with the basic things, to know the patients, to know the pathologies. I want them to assist their seniors and to understand basic things. Along with that, with a little knowledge, like in the form of didactics, lectures, will frame their pathologies. And first year, what I expect from my residents is they should be able to differentiate between what is the normal thing and what are the pathologies. Difference between normal and abnormal, they should be able to differentiate it in first year. In the second year, I want them to start taking decisions and little bit more get used to with the skills, procedures, and everything, but under the guidance of their third year or their seniors, and a lot more into the knowledge or depth into the knowledge. So first year just about the pathology, second year a little bit more about treatment along with pathologies, and third year is all about leadership, because they need to lead a team. First year, second year, third year. Third year has to lead a team and move forward. So I want third year residents to work as a faculty in absence of a faculty. And they have to lead a team. So they have to build these leadership skills because they have already went to the basic things, the normal things, the abnormal things, the pathologies, the treatment. And now there is a role of leadership and putting new inputs uh, by taking advantages like what are the new approaches, what are the new advances in the field, not going into the same path, but putting new things and putting new treatment into effect and trying new things. And that's what I want from my residents to do it. And I'll also like to put some kind of cultural things, cultural activities, to build a relationship between the residents among themselves, and so that they don't really get bored with all the education stuff and they get a chance to explore other their hobbies, activities as well. And I'll make sure I'll look into the matter of mental health of each and every resident, and have a committee or have a member or kind of a department which looks into the mental things of the residents, or they can talk with someone. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. So, Dr. Anjali, your answer is very, very good. It's like pretty long. Definitely, you're saying it for the first time, so you can structure it very well. But I can see a very good program director inside you. You know, just imagine you designing a program with putting across all the points over there. So you'll be a very good program director, hopefully in coming.
No, I just give my opinion. That's it.
And the one point
Thank
that
you.
I would say that it was missing is it's fine if you're design, it's good to design a curriculum that offers the best to a resident. But like even last, I think we should even mention we would design the, we'll design a curriculum so that it gives the best patient care as well. So that the
Yeah.
residents can give the offer the best care to their patients as well. That like I would add that line to my answer as well. Yeah. Anybody
Yeah.
else wants to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a chief resident in the making. Then she will definitely graduate into a program director.
No. No, I just gave my opinion. That's it. Yeah.
So that was really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to just give their review, or we should move ahead?
Something. I mean, it's not a feedback, but like, we can probably just say that, I would encourage active participation and learning of the residents through, bedside learning, didactics, and mentorship, and then, foster a very supportive environment for residents through, I don't know, wellness programs or something like that.
Harshita, you raised your hand. Do you want to answer this question, like whatever you have in your mind?
I just did.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I thought you were giving a review. Otherwise, yeah, definitely, it's a good point that we can add that about the active participation as well. So yeah, that's even a very good point. I'll note all those points to frame my answer in a better way. Yeah. So Dr. Ramya, yeah, we'll just share, you can just give your answer. Just a second, I am going to send something in the group like yesterday. Dr. NG shared that what difficulties we are going to see in the future in IM. But I'll just send in the group. But meanwhile, you can just go through that as well. And after that, we can just after finishing this question, we'll shift to the next question, and you can just put across your points. Yeah, Dr. Ramya, go ahead. Dr. Ramya, yes, you can just give your answer.
I'm sorry, I was in mute. So yeah, my question is like, I mean, I really liked the part that how she explained it, but I felt it was a little bit longer. I don't think we'll be given that much time to explain, so that's one of my concern there. So should we make it shorter? Because are we going to explain it like each and every year? This is how the curriculum should look like. Will we have that long time to do it? And I would like to add a point here saying that I would like to have a program where the resident can interact with the community people, so they get to know about what's happening along with the people, what is it like, how their lifestyle looks like. Being an IMG coming from a different part of country, I think interacting with people in the community really helps a lot, whatever specialty it is. So that way we can be like familiarized with their their lifestyle or whatever it. I think I will add that if they ask me. Yeah, thank you.
That's even a very good point. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for Dr. Ramya. So when you said the point about the community, you mean like set up like these community fairs, like camps, like medical health camps in that way?
Yes. Like some kind of yeah, it could be camp or any kind of like outreach program, like where you get to know people, maybe kind of get along with the community. So I'm not very particular how they do it, but if something like that, we'll know about the people in the community where we are working, because we are from a different country and different culture. So I thought that might be helpful.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think like it'll be good to mention something about from where you're coming from. You guys are very big on, or we are big on volunteering and advocacy. So in that way, it will be good to incorporate outreach programs where you get to reach out to the community and all that. But again, with that, I have a question. Will you, if you're going to a university program, would it be a good thing to bring forward, or is it limited to when you're in a community program? I'm just asking.
I think like you can mention the community outreach like regardless of whether it's a university at this thing, because just because it's a university hospital, I don't think they would stop serving the community. They're still serving like a part of this. Community hospital generally means like it's more like family care oriented, and just the it's not a strict definition, meaning like university hospital also does community work. So you can mention community this thing, and regardless, even if they don't, it's still a good thing for you to mention because it shows that you care about the community, and that's always a nice thing, right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thanks, Dr.
Definitely mention.
And one more thing, yeah, it's a very good point to mention, like what we are going to bring from our home country, because we are international medical graduate. We have worked in different healthcare setup, so we can just tell that we can bring the knowledge or the knowledge or how or something from that system into this healthcare system, into the new curriculum we design. Yeah, I would even add that to my answer. Yeah, Dr. Ramya, go ahead.
So I think another participant, I think he mentioned saying that I want to be independent. I want to work in the first year itself like an independent physician. I don't think we can say that, because I don't think it's a proper patient care. We need to learn like how the system runs, and the way the other person who said like she split into 3 years and she explained it, but that was really good. But the other person said that that we need to be responsible for patient care like a physician from the first year. I don't think we can say that. It looks like we are interested in our self care, like self growth, not on patient care. So I think we need to be responsible on that as well and need to make sure that we are not saying it. I think I had that feedback on that. That is it. Thank you.
Yeah, that definitely we should keep in mind that thing as well. That's a good point. Yeah. So anybody else wants to answer this question, or we should shift to the next question? Like we have time still. We can just shift after 10 o'clock. So we still have 16 minutes more. If you want to discuss this.
Hey, before we move on to any other things, is it okay, Ayushman and everyone else, that we summarize whatever we have spoken? So there are actually an n number of points that we actually pointed out from this.
Okay.
So if it's
So
okay, I will
Dr.
just
Akash,
go ahead.
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, you just summarize it at the end. But first, I think like we'll give 3 students a chance to speak, and then
Sure,
we
sure.
summarize all the points. It will be very good. Yeah.
Sure. No
So
problem.
anybody else wants to speak before Dr. Akash is going to summarize the points? Yeah, Ramya, go ahead. Dr. Ramya and Dr. Jaideep. Then after that, we can have Dr. Jaideep. Yeah, go ahead. Dr. Ramya, then we'll have Dr.
I'm sorry. I'm good. I think I already spoke. Sorry. It's not enough. Thank you.
So that's fine. If you have something to add, then Dr. Akash will summarize it for everybody. So if you have something to add, please go ahead.
I don't have any. I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. So then Dr. Jaideep, you can go ahead with your answer. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon. This is my first time coming to one of these meetings, and I'm sorry I came in a bit late. Thank you. Initially, I thought maybe, I can just go, I'll just copy. So whenever if someone asks, what would you like to, how would you like to be a program director in design? I'd be just like, your program is the best program. So I'll just copy you. I'm just joking. Okay. So I'd probably say that I'll draw from my experiences going through a residency. I'll take the framework from another program, maybe my previous program. Um, I'll draw on my experiences that I went through during residency, um, and use them to improve my current program. An example of that would be, let's say if I was asked to, formulate a curriculum, medical curriculum for a medical school. Now, because I've been through medical school, my personal experience would have been like I needed more context during my first and second years. So drawing on something like that, I'd probably try to improve on what already exists. And what I would like to focus on is translating that framework into that locality. For example, if there's a security net hospital, the type of patients that we receive in that hospital that we take care of would be a lot different from a hospital that's, say, in a different socioeconomic zone. So I'd like to take the most common, um, you know, medical errors that we face in that setting, and I'd like to form a curriculum that hits hard against those errors so that all of my residents would be well prepared for actually performing as independent residents during their rotations. And the second thing that I'd like to introduce would be a mentorship program. I firmly believe that mentoring someone helps you grow, and the person who's being mentored gets benefited as well. So these are the two inputs that I'd give while framing a curriculum for a program. How was that answer?
It was good answer. Is it correct? Like if I mention that I'll go through, yeah, even I'll mention start my answer by saying like you mentioned that I'll go to curriculum first. I'll go to curriculum of various programs across United States. I'll understand them well and take their good points to structure my program. Like what Dr. Jaideep said, I think it's a good point because it's okay to go through all the programs first, right? To then just take the good points from them and incorporate into my program. Anybody wants to add something? Your feedback on Dr. Jaideep's answer?
It's actually a really genuine answer, I would say. Like, just going through that residency lifestyle, I guess he has just pointed out like what exactly a resident's shoes would be, and how to design a curriculum. I really like that answer. I mean, it was spontaneous and on the spot, and I guess sometimes that actually works in an interview.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. So anybody else wants to give their feedback, or then we just shift to next, or we can shift to next person? Dr. Om or anybody else wants to speak something, and Dr. NG?
I mean, I really have nothing else to say. I really like the fact that, like, he pulled from like past experiences. Like, it kind of shows like he is experienced and like, yeah, he is willing to bring this experience and he's thought about it. He's reflected on it. So yeah, I really think like, not just him, like for anyone, like, saying that like, oh, I from my past experience in medical school or like residency, if it's applicable, then yeah, I think like that would be a good point to add for anyone. Like, I think that was a good point. So yeah. Also, just one thing I was thinking, right? Like a slightly different way that this question could be asked by the interviewer is, what would you like if you had to design or like add something new to our program's curriculum? What would you do? So at that point, to be prepared for that question, I think it's best if you read up on what the program already does, because like certain like for example, mental wellness, mental health, this thing, some programs already do have that. So you don't want to go there and say like, oh, I would implement mental wellness this thing in a program that already has it, right? So like researching your program beforehand, seeing what they already have, like mental wellness, community outreach, cultural, like events and like collaboration and stuff like that. It's better to know this beforehand and try to add something new. Like say like, okay, I already know you guys do this, I would add these extra things, something like that.
Oh,
so yeah.
No, that's a good point. Yeah. If it's program specific, we just resource the program. Yeah. Thank you. So anybody else wants to add something? Go ahead.
But sometimes we don't know anything about the program, what they have, what programs like mental wellness, they don't put that on the website. So I think if we are not aware, we can just let them know, I would like to have all this program. I mean, like these features, but I really like the program actually has, but I would like to add this, but I'm not pretty sure whether they have it or not. I think some of the programs
I would say like if you're not 100% sure that like they have it, like if it's not mentioned anywhere, then go ahead and mention it anyways. But like if they do mention, because like the thing is, even during when I was like researching like programs for applications, I did see like a lot of programs on their websites. A significant amount of them had like mentioned about their work structure, their everything, right? So it might not be there for everyone, but it's there for some people. So looking through the program at the start and like framing your answer based off of that works. And again, like you said, like if they don't have it, then whatever you wanted to mention, you can mention.
I want to add something on that point. So if you have kind of research 100%, then it is good to mention it that you have already seen all these things in your program and you would like to add something. But if you have not researched 100% and if it is not mentioned in their website, on their website, and if they already have that part in their program, then I think they'll feel little offended on that part, maybe because they think that you don't know this thing, but we are already doing this thing. So maybe, I don't know. Only if you're 100% sure that like kind of example, if they have mental awareness camp or mental awareness thing in their department and they have not mentioned it on their website, but they already have they do it regularly with their residents and everyone. So I think confirming it with the residents, like the previous resident or the current resident, will be more effective rather than just um, rather than just believing on the website what it is there.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think I'll keep this question as well for when we meet the residents, because we're going to meet them anyway. Like we will be in the common room. We can just ask them, if you want to change something about your program, what would that be? And we can just present with that point during the interview as well.
Yeah, because sometimes the reality is different apart from the website. Like who writes on the website is a different person, but what is happening inside the residency is a different person. I mean, it's a different kind of a world. So I think you need to confirm it and then tell this answer.
Okay. Okay, right. I will.
Okay. Oh, sorry for the interruption, but for the answer that you guys actually are telling like on the website, they might be actually not putting across many of the details. So I guess a neutral answer for that would be the residency program actually spans into all the aspects that I ever wished for, and yeah, I would like to contribute to any of the one which seems to be suited for me as well. So I guess that in that way we are just neutralizing the answer and just making sure like we'll just go in a path that we are interested in and we can just contribute to that.
Anybody
So
else?
yeah.
So at this point, I think that rather than adding this point that you have all these things in your curriculum and I would like to add, rather than saying this kind of thing, uh, because anyway, it's not gonna change anything, right? So what I feel is rather than telling in that way, you can tell your perspective, like what you expect from what kind of curriculum you want yourself want. Just show your interest. I mean, just show your perspective rather than comparing. What I feel is, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so if it's like a community program, I mean, like a university program which is actually doing some community outreach service, I guess once we join into residency, my perspective is to increase the number of outreach and I mean, increase the indulgence into research or something like that. I guess so we can just divert the topic in that way to just not get bombarded with any other questions, I feel.
So anybody else wants to talk about this something before Dr. Akash can summarize the question for us? Just go ahead. It's okay. No answer is wrong and no answer is completely correct. We are here to learn. Everybody's learning. So you can put across your point in case you want. Okay, then Dr. Akash, you can summarize the answer, like all the points you can just summarize.
Ayushman, just one line I want to add.
Okay.
Or if we can speak like that, or if we can start it in a way that in a humorous way, like as I have already selected your program and I'm interviewing right now in front of you. So I already like all those things which are mentioned on your website or which is already cultivated in your program. We can start like that. Like I appreciate that part, and the things I saw on the website and the things I came to know about the program are already fine with me, and I'm little more interested in this. That's it. Like if we can add in a way.
I have a feedback. I really like the way you started, but it looks like overconfident if a person is going to hear it. So you're already interviewing me. I really like this. So I think it should be said in a different way, like saying that I really like the features of your program. I would like to have these all. Pretty sure I'm not very sure whether this is included in your program, but I'll
Yeah,
be
yeah,
happy.
yeah. Yeah.
Rather
The
than
same way I
saying
wanted to, express it.
yeah, rather than saying that I'm happy that I'm already interviewing you, it looks like as if it looks
If
very
we can, we can
overconfident.
delete that line, but we can delete that line. But I have selected this program because of this reasons, and I already like all these things about this program, and I would like to have more I am more interested in this, right? Like that kind of thing. In a
That
way,
actually
they'll
sounds
come to know
perfect.
that we have researched. In a way, they'll come to know that we have already researched about the program. We know everything about the program, and that will be little. They'll feel happy about that thing.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely perfect, I would say. Like start I like the way that you actually started, and yeah, so I guess that will actually like guide whichever way we want to go. Like if they want to ask any other questions, so I guess they'll be just taking that as the hook.
Yeah, Dr. Akash, you can just You're not audible. I think you muted.
Yes, yes. So, uh, okay, so there were many points. I could only write down like around 10 points or something like that. So the first opening sentence would be like, I would do some research into this and just know more about the curriculums and everything. So starting up with the points would be like strengthening and focusing on the basics of the residents. The other one is a supportive learning environment to produce the maximal output of the resident as well as the patient care. And the third point would be increase indulgence of the residents and make sure there is a full blown exposure to the residents. The fourth point would be the futuristic view of the specialty. And the other one would be the activities to inculcate the sense of family in the residents and make sure there's more amount of interdisciplinary functioning and a balanced lifestyle. That would be the sixth point. And more amount of research orientation and constant evolution. And I guess the eighth point or so would be the great mentorship and the guidance that would be provided from your residency. Yeah, those were the actually is like 8 points that I could write down. Feel free to add any other points. So these were the basic summary that I could catch from this. Yeah, please feel free to add.
Yeah, like one more point, like I think you even mentioned about that to promote the active participation of residents more. Yeah, that I think you mentioned that before. So I think it's that's what we all discussed. That's a good answer.
Yeah, so I guess we can just pick out like 5 points from this, and we can just elaborate on our basics. So that would be great. Yeah.
So if you have written these points, can you share in the group? Like we can just
Yeah, for sure. I'll just type down a message and so that everyone can take a look at it.
Yeah, that would be great. I have just switched on the AI companion as well. So I will have the, whatever we're going to say, we're going to have the answers as well in the message form. But yeah, it would be good like if we can have all those points and we can frame my answer in a better way. Yeah.
Sure, for sure. I'll just make it now. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Anyone else wants to add something, or we should shift to the next question? What are the difficulties your specialty is going to, witness in coming future? Should we move to the next question, or somebody wants to add something to this question? Or I think we are like, it's already 10. Okay, I think we'll shift to the next question. So if somebody asks you like, what are the difficulties your specialty is going to suffer or witness in coming years? Like anybody wants to answer that question? Dr. Om or Dr. Ramya, anybody? Dr. Akash? I think we have Dr. Surya as well with us. You want to say something? Okay, then I'll just go with my answer. Like what I have in my points is, mine is then I think everybody will add their points and we can have a good answer to this question. So yeah, so the few difficulties as the technology is evolving and new diseases are coming up, plus the introduction of AI in the healthcare, definitely my specialty internal medicine is going to face new challenges in coming future. So the four challenges that I think internal medicine is going to see is number first is the aging population. So as a population with age, there are more of the chronic diseases coming up. So we have to shift our care more towards the chronic diseases. Secondly, I feel is that even coming with the upcoming antibiotic resistance, and people, there are people against the vaccination. So there will be more of infectious diseases also coming up in a different parts of the world. So over there, the shift will be more towards the infectious than the non-communicable diseases. Third point I feel is that there needs to be more as the complexity of diseases will increase with the coming time. There needs to be the more interdisciplinary collaboration so that we can provide the best care to the patient. And fourth point I feel is I don't remember the fourth point. Yeah, these are the only 3 points I have in my mind. Okay. Last point is that health records will become universally. They will be available universally, but yeah, there will definitely with that there will be issue of the time required to enter the data and even with the data security. So yeah, these are my 4 points. Yeah, Dr. Anjali, go ahead.
I don't have any, I don't want to comment anything. Yeah, all are perfect. I just want to add one point which I have an idea about. With increasing technologies, I think the information to patients and patients' relative is readily available, and I think that will be the most difficult part for the doctors or for any specialty in coming days, because the specialities will face this problem in coming years, that they have to answer, they have to convince all the patients' doubt, which they have already read on the Google, or they have come across with that points from they have already I mean, if you have some kind of condition, if you have some kind of symptoms, they would have already researched that part from the Google, and they'll come to you, and that will be a difficult part from the doctor side, as they have to convince them and they have to provide them with the right information, and uh, they have to teach them that not everything written on the Google is right.
That's a very good point. So I'll just put it across it in a simpler way that there is a lot of information available on the internet. These days, and even coming time, there will be even more information available. So it will be difficult to convince the patient regarding their treatment. Yeah, I'll put it across this way. Otherwise, it's a very good point.
Yeah.
You can say like there's a lot of information and there's a lot of misinformation.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Like with regards to alternative therapies that like are actually just scams or frauds and stuff like that. So definitely, like as those become more and more like this thing, I think that's a really good point. You can expand on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anybody else wants to answer this question? It's not something you can just add points. You can even repeat the points that I said. I just took it from the group only, like what Dr. NG shared. So you can just add, you can just give your answer, proper answer, like how you can answer it in the interview. Anybody wants to answer?
I think like if I had to answer, like my first point I think would probably be along the lines of the misinformation thing, because I think with the advent of like social media and how pervasive it's becoming and how poorly regulated it is, right? Like misinformation is like rampant and like it's growing day by day. So health literacy, right? Like accurate, proper health literacy among the general populace, in my opinion, is going to, decrease, is going to take a hit over the coming years. And like to we as doctors, especially as internal medicine residents who are the front line, right? Like the first line for like a lot of the treatments, for us to like deal with all of this, like it's going to be a challenge. So that would be my first point. My second point was going to be that the COVID pandemic, right? Like when it happened, it exposed a lot in terms of our inadequacies in being prepared for such a event, right? Like in terms of like the allocation. How do I put it? Like um, the resources available weren't like the prevention measures were lacking. The education, there's a lot of confusion and a lot of that. And at the end of the day, when such a worldwide pandemic hit, like internal medicine residents especially were the ones, internal medicine and emergency medicine, I believe, like these are the two departments that had to face like a major brunt of it. And we also saw that when such a heavy load, unexpected heavy load is like placed on us, that like the system can crumble very easily. And like, it leads to like residents being overworked, that basically that we're not prepared for it. So preparing for it is going to be a challenge, because there's no guarantee that something like this won't ever happen again. But preparing for it, and like making sure that we're like ready to face something like this is going to be a challenge. So that would be my second point. So I'm sorry for like the really long answer, but yeah, I will definitely shorten this. But other than that, like my 2 points were generally going to be surrounding this.
Dr. Rachel, you want to answer the question? You can go ahead. Okay. So yeah, in the previous meeting, there were Dr. Saurabh just mentioned that when we try to answer something, we can just say that if we have a lot of points in our mind, but we cannot answer or put all those points in our answer during the interview because of the limited time. So we can just start our answer by saying, yeah, my three strengths or my three difficulties that I feel that my specialty is going to see in the coming years, or anything, like you can just specify the number of points you want to speak, so that the program director remembers that later on as well, and that it might help you to rank on higher during the rank order list. So that's what previously I think Dr. Saurav mentioned about that. So that's even a good point. Like when we answer something, we can just make sure that we mention like 3 or 5 points. But how many points we want to mention?
Okay, I just want to add one thing. The evolving healthcare policy, that we know that the healthcare policy and regulation keep changing, as in daily, as in or frequently. So that can impact on our medical practice. So for us to stay abreast with such changes, that means we need to keep updating our medical knowledge, and as well as maybe continuous research or something would help us stay as in abreast with whatever changes is happening.
Absolutely, like that's a very good point. That with upcoming, research, with upcoming researches and the new technologies coming up, it's very important to it will become difficult to keep the healthcare workers updated with that new knowledge. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else wants to add something? Dr.
I would like to
go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, go
I think in future the technology may be even more advanced. I don't know, like we can expect something like more like where we don't have much time to communicate with the patients. So I feel that technology being more progressive, the communication between the patients should not be compromised. So I think that's more important in a patient care, and that is how we build trust and relationship. I would like to add that, if that is okay. Yeah.
So the question, like if somebody asked you during the interview, you can just answer that question instead of complete. Even if you have to repeat the points, that's fine. We are here to practice. If you want to answer the question, you can. Like you just imagine you're sitting in front of interview and how you're going to answer this question.
Okay, so if they're going to ask me what are the negative aspects of the specialty, I would like to start with saying,
what are the difficulties that your specialty is going to witness in the coming time?
Oh yeah, the difficulties. Okay, I'm applying to family medicine. I would like to start saying that I think the most difficulty that I think in family medicine specialty is referring the patients. Like we won't be able to have a complete care of the patient as a whole if they are having some particular compliance like related with OBGYN, we have to refer them. So I feel that
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. But the question is, what your specialty is going to witness in coming, the difficulties your specialty is going to witness in coming time. not about the like anything
The
negative
negative aspects. Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
coming time, in future. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Let me take some more time. I'm not ready for it. Let me take, yeah.
But
Right?
Yeah,
You
sure.
can hear tonight.
yeah, Dr. Rachel, you can just answer in case you want to. I think her mic is on. I'll just turn off the mic.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Hi everyone. As I'm applying to the family medicine, I think one of the challenge for family physicians will be to assure the quality care rights are protected. Because as family physician, doctors cover 40% of the population who don't have any healthcare insurances. And it will be difficult for doctors to stop insurance programs from eroding in terms of the quality of care provided and amount of care available. So because of unmet healthcare cost results in huge financial and social and emotional costs for the country and the people. Yeah, please give any feedback.
Otherwise, I feel the difficulties that what I am is going to face, even the specialty like family medicine or even psychiatry is going to face. Like there are very similar points. Like you can talk about the electronic medical record system, then you can talk that family medicine also, like you can talk about more infectious diseases coming up, or in some part of the world more aging population is going to be there, so more chronic illnesses will be there. Like the points are almost going to be the same in both the specialties. For even psychiatry and other specialties, we can just use some common points, but yeah, you just have to come with one or two specific points about that specialty. Otherwise, FM and IM are nearly same for me, like in my perspective.
Okay, but my concern is mainly about regarding the insurance, because many of the people who are like residing in the borders and everywhere, many of the people, family physician and hospitals see that they don't have much insurance coverage and they have some problem. So I think that might also going to be a challenge for some population, because they can't get quality of care they require because of this insurance problems. Thank you.
I have this one to what Dr. Nisha said. Can we frame it like the inflation would, affect health equity across the general population? So again, like, the insurance prices would go up. People won't be able to afford insurance, and most of the medicines probably a huge part of it the patients have to cover in the cost of. Can we do that? I mean, can we say that? I mean, if Lokesh can frame it better, right?
The thing is, you basically the point that you're trying to convey is that there are already like inequities in the social system of this country, where like certain people are better covered by their insurance more so than other people, and there is a significant population that isn't covered by their insurance or just don't have insurance to begin with, right? So you predict that this inequity is going to get worse. It's going to worsen over the coming years. I'm assuming that's the point that you're trying to make, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Like people won't be like as it is. Like people can't afford it. Like some people can't afford insurance, right?
Yeah.
With
So
this
there is
one,
already an issue, and you're trying to say that this issue is going to worsen, and like we're going to see like negative impacts of it in the future.
yeah. So we can say that inflation would further deepen the health would deepen the issue with the healthcare equity. Is that?
I wouldn't use the word inflation, because at that point, if people start asking you about inflation, then like that's another rabbit hole you don't want to go down, right? So just say like there are already inequities in those quality of care that people receive across this country, and that like you foresee or like you predict that those inequities are going to worsen, or they're going to the disparity is going to further like increase over the upcoming years, where more and more people are not going to be able to afford us quality healthcare, And yeah, just like that.
So if they
I have
how would they not be like, how can they not afford? So then the point comes like to inflation, right? So how can we say something? I mean, can we say something
See,
else
the
that
thing is, if you're going to go that this thing, like the issue is
Mhm.
not just inflation. Yeah, the America as a whole, like this is just something that's like widely talked about. It has like a problem with insurance to begin with, right? Like that's why there's this whole push for like universal healthcare and stuff like that, right? But
Mhm.
again, you don't really want to go into, how do I put it, go into that this thing, because for some reason in the US it's a political topic to discuss universal healthcare. So I'm just trying to like frame it in such a way that like you avoid falling into that issue.
Okay, so like we can just be general and say like it's going the
Yeah,
gap between the
exactly.
healthcare equity is just going to like worsen, right? That's what.
Yes,
Right?
that's
Okay.
what I would recommend. Like
Okay.
yeah.
I have someone also told me that it's not advisable to talk about the insurance because they said some of the programs are being sponsored by, I mean, like some of the hospital run by insurance companies. So it's better not to touch on that.
Oh yeah,
And if
that's
you're
a really
going to,
good point.
and even if you're going to say inequality and they're going to talk about your own country, I think we have more there than here, I believe. People here are very much blessed in our country, I should say, because they are open to many healthcare services that they have. And I've also heard like some organizations like they run free. Um, Physicians are working free. I mean, like they don't get charged for it. So I don't think we should talk about it because it's going to come back or they're going to ask you a few more questions about our home country healthcare system. I don't want to compare things here. That's my opinion.
And I have a confusion over here how inequality and inflation will affect our specialty. I mean, it is already, I mean, it is affecting patient population. I don't know. I mean, how it's gonna affect our specialty or it will affect
In
us as a
my
doctor.
I understand. That's actually a really good point. If I had to like frame it, what I would say is how it's going to affect our specialty is, as it worsens in more and more in the coming years, you're going to have to think twice about recommending a treatment to a patient, because like the concern if the patient is going to be able to afford this treatment is going to get worse, like worse and worse, and at which point like you'll have to sort of like Frankenstein, like sort of bits and pieces, like trying to like make the best plan possible for like plan of care possible for a patient, while still maintain while not like while still like maintaining within their like financial state, like well, 1 second, basically like in a way that it's still affordable for the patient. Basically that's what I'm trying to say. So it's going to get difficult for the internal medicine resident or the internal medicine department as a whole to come up with a plan for a patient while it's still affordable to them. Like they're not going to be able to receive the best care that you want to give them. So that's what I would do. Like, but again, I do understand that the issue of like putting it across and like how it's going to be a difficulty for your specialty. It's a little like tricky.
Like you do you think like people are going to wait for a long time, like like before coming to hospitals and clinics because things are getting expensive and they're like, okay, let me like wait for some time and see if it subsides, and then like when it gets worse, I think that's when they would probably seek medical care. So and then like of course the treatment would be different, right, if you just wait for like a long time. So yeah, I think that would also affect healthcare, isn't it?
Um, that's the thing. Like I agree. Like the points you're saying are all correct. Like I agree with Anjali what she said, that like if the question is about how it's going to affect the specialty or what difficulty the specialty is going to face, yes, this is going to be like difficult for the specialty, but this is more a conversation about patients and them being affected, right? So I would not put this as if it was me, I would not put this as a first point. I'd maybe put it as like the third, like a third point at the end, because yeah, like again, this becomes, it's a more of a conversation on how the patient is getting affected. Like the patient is the one who's suffering, who can't pay for their bills, and who this thing, right? It's not the internal medicine department, it's not the internal medicine specialty that's like seriously taking a hit. It is going to be more difficult, yes, but I would say there are better points for this question.
And we can even acknowledge the patient, the doctor shortage in coming times. We can just maybe in down the points we can acknowledge the doctors shortage as well. Shortage of the doctors in coming time.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great point. So I just wanted to add on Ayushman's point on that. So we can say actually, I'm just gonna even add Dr. Om's point on this with the decline in health literacy because of the advent of the misinformation. And one more point that I would add is like the increasing patient load and increasing medical anomalies. I mean, I would say the ever evolving field of medicine will actually test the strength of a resident, how resilient he is towards this field, and it's going to take a huge impact on the field of internal medicine, the constant phase of learning and serving the patients. I guess there will be a lot of burnout, but yeah. So the ever evolving and ever adapting phase is never going to end. So that's what is the difficulty that we are going to face. I guess this can be applicable to even family medicine as well.
Yeah.
So this is a common point there on which we can build our things on.
Absolutely, yeah. So anybody wants to summarize this answer or anybody wants to speak, then we can just end the meeting as well.
I had another point that I wanted to add that you could use. The thing is, another issue that I definitely see internal medicine the specialty facing in the upcoming years is again the advent of AI. The thing is, AI, artificial intelligence in medicine, is still in its infancy, but there is proof of concept in the sense that there is already proof that it can greatly help and sort of help patient care. So it's going to be implemented more and more in hospitals. The issue is that even though it is promising, it's still in its infancy. So as it gets implemented further in the US healthcare system, in internal medicine, the line between the role of AI and the role of an internal medicine specialist is going to get blurred. And because of that, there are going to be times where there's going to be friction between, what the AI, whatever the artificial intelligence thing, the software or the application, what it does versus what the internal medicine the specialist would want to do. For example, if if an AI application suggests treatment option A, but an internal medicine specialist in his years of experience feels like treatment option B would be better. As the role of AI becomes more prominent in the US healthcare system, there's going to be further conflict between how much can we rely on this AI versus how much do we still need the internal do we need the specialist. So that friction is definitely going to cause some issues in the upcoming years. That's my point. Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, or we can add it in a way that how AI is coming over and it is getting introduced in the medical specialty, in every specialty, and how it will be difficult for the older grads or the practicing physician or who will be a practicing physician, for them to keep on updating themselves every time, and that this will increase burnout in them. This will increase, they have to keep updated, they have to look after the patient and everything. They have to always keep updating their knowledge.
That's even the right way. That's even a good point.
The thing is, I did think of mentioning that. My only thought against it was because when we say maybe an older grad or an attending physician has to update themselves or struggles with this thing, it kind of puts them like in a negative light, is my like slight feeling, like as of like the old people can't like handle technology. That stereotype is getting hit. So that's why I avoided it in my phrase. Maybe if someone else thinks differently, then yeah, you can please like let me know. This is the thought in my head when I thought about this.
But Dr. Om, as you mentioned, since AI is going to be like, we can even talk about like, since AI is going to be in its infancy, and we don't know exactly how will it impact the internal medicine, and how we will come and how we'll overcome those challenges in the coming time.
Okay, so I have
Exactly.
a point to add.
Okay.
So I remember during internship when this was back in Dubai, and like they had introduced AI in the radiology department. So the AI would, read CTs or MRIs of, the stroke patients and would no not stroke patients of patients, and then would predict, okay, like this patient most likely has stroke or doesn't have stroke. So the doctors noticed that the readings were inaccurate, like people, like it didn't correctly identify people with you know uh, like who had strokes. So we can say that that is going to like like add to the workload of doctors, because they have to correct, like if the AI generates a report, then you have to again double check, like, okay, is it like correct, or is it like the information, like something is missing or something is wrong. So we can probably like see things like that. Would that make more sense?
Exactly.
Yeah, that definitely is. I would say that definitely is a point to bring up. I kind of like addressed it in a different way in my this thing, but like basically the point that we're trying to get across is the same, in that you don't know how reliable AI is, right? So the thing is, like, if you start relying on it too much, then there's going to be some like there's some friction, or there's going to be definitely a confusion and like difficulty in deciding the final treatment care when like the AI, the application suggests A and you think it's wrong, and like, or like B is better or whatever. So in that case, when if it really is based on like the situation at that time, and since there's like no clear cut like way, like protocol that we're like following right now, there is and like everything is still like being built. It is going to be a period of trial and error where like mistakes are going to be made. There is going to be difficulty where some people believe that the AI is right, some people believe that the doctor is right, and so that is definitely a difficulty that I see upcoming, that the internal medicine the department is going to face in the upcoming years. But yeah, basically I do get the point that you're trying to make. So yeah, I definitely, that's the way I would phrase it.
I totally agree with that point. Rather than putting it into deep, we can just tell it that AI is an upcoming challenge. If it is in a good way or a bad way, it is a challenge.
And we don't know how it is going to impact our healthcare. And so we, if it, the way it is going to help, like, and we have to even overcome those challenges. What AI is going to offer to our healthcare, the challenges we have to be ready to overcome those challenges as well. Like if, like without giving much explanation and everything, I would just mention that like I think that's what you all want to just say. It's a gist that nobody knows what are the AI going to give us, give us in the coming time.
Yeah, that's perfect enough. Like, actually, we can just summarize our point into like AI would be a challenge. So it's better if we just don't get into much more details of it, because again, it will be again just like a debate going on, I guess. So, but on a softer note, I would say like AI would be one of the challenge for the internal medicine in its later future, and the ever evolving field of medicine. So I guess how will the course of events go forward?
Absolutely. Yes. So anybody wants to add something, or like we can just summarize all the points and we can end the meeting and meet tomorrow again.
Dr. Gupta, I would like to add a point.
Go
I
ahead.
don't know if this was covered earlier. So this is based on my recent rotation with Dr. Lazarevich. So one of the major concerns that I believe, actually two, I would say. So the first one being is because of the increasing mental health issues, right? I think it puts a greater pressure on the internists to be aware of how a patient is feeling mentally before we get into the aspects of how they're doing physically. So, and that adds a lot more pressure on, like, we have to make sure we do the whole GAD-7 and PHQ-9 scoring and stuff. And another thing is, because there's a big discrepancy between the doctor patient number, we and because internists are like primary care providers too, right? So when they come to us and we're not able to give optimal care in terms of even spending enough time talking to them and even like addressing their concerns, so which all kind of eventually lead to like patient dissatisfaction, I think that is going to affect us. That is going to affect our field, because they're going to say that, oh, I went to an internist and I didn't get anything out of it. So I think that will affect us. So I think these two are like two very big challenges that might hit us. I think it already is, but it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Those are very good points for sure. Yeah. So, Dr. Kart, do you want to summarize all these points, or like anybody wants to add anything before, like somebody can summarize these points for us, and then we can end the meeting?
Sorry, I just wanted to ask something to Dr. Maggie, who mentioned. I just want to clarify, like, what was the difficulty that you wanted to say that internal medicine would face in the future with the first point that you mentioned?
So with the whole mental health issues, right? When a patient walks into your clinic and then they say that I'm experiencing, oh, I'm having a tummy ache, or the somatic symptoms, but then we kind of, because of the whole patient load, we overlook their mental health issues. So one of the incident that happened was the patient walked in. We provided, I think, with like fever or body pain or something, we gave the medications, and I think the next week the patient was found dead in his or her apartment. So, and then this can, the patient relatives can come sue us because we completely ignored the fact that the patient was going through something and we didn't screen them properly. So this is adding a lot more, like we have to also look at now psychiatric illnesses in addition to what we already treat. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just like taking some time to process it. I definitely understand what you're saying. My thing is, I don't see where this is a problem for, like, or like it's going to be a difficulty for the internal medicine department, because like if you're talking about like primary care, that we all primary care, or like outpatient, this thing, you already do screenings for depression, and like it should be there in the course of like natural like history taking, where to ask how the patient is feeling, if there's anything on their mind. I mean, like, maybe it's just me, somebody else could like weigh in, but like I don't see how this is going to be an issue in the future. I just don't think it fits the question. Definitely it is an issue, and I completely understand where you're coming from, but maybe I'm just like struggling. If somebody else like has something else to say, they can like wait, but like just my thoughts, I just don't see how like this fits in with the question of like what the kind of like problems internal medicine is going to face.
Okay. Maybe I'll give it a little more thought, and maybe if I could phrase it better, I might be able to come up with a more convincing explanation.
But Dr.
Yeah, absolutely. Like maybe even I need to like sit and think about this a little bit, because just like at first glance, like I just didn't see, compared to like the other examples that were provided today, like
right.
This felt like, okay, maybe it just needs to be phrased a little bit better. It's something I'll think about, like hopefully like we can
Dr.
address it in the
Don't
next
you
meeting.
think that not only in primary care, even being a hospitalist, you are rarely going to get in contact with a psychiatrist first, but you will be either in contact with a family physician or family medicine doctor, internal medicine doctor in a hospital, and then after that we might refer that patient to the psychiatry.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Like that is something that we should already be doing, and I think that is something that we are already doing, like depression screening and generally asking for like a patient's mental well-being. I think it's already a part. The thing is, I don't see how it's a problem that's
But we
going
can
to get
say,
worse
but what
in the
Dr.
future.
Maggie, is trying to say, I think what she means is that in the coming time, since mental health issues are going to become like they're going to come up, like their proportion will increase. So definitely we want to focus more as a internist or a primary care physician. We want to focus more on the mental health apart from the physical health.
Like
Like
okay.
that's what I think. Like otherwise,
you're right.
Okay. Now I understand it. Okay.
because
I mean,
what
I
I've seen in my
completely now I get what the point, like the point that's trying to be made. I get it now. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me thinking, or like I need to think on it a little bit. But I still think like I think you can say it, but I still think it's like a slightly weaker point compared to other this things. That's just my opinion. Maybe if I think on it a little bit, like I'll change my opinion.
definitely have the better like for me I have better points to mention, but yeah, I can just keep this point as one of the points as my backup point, as my reserve point. If I have to if I forget something, I can definitely come up with this. But yeah, that's what I think she meant, is that we need to focus more on the mental health aspect as well, apart from treating the patient physically.
Yeah, I get that. Now that I understand the point a little bit better. So thank you so much, Aishman, for explaining that. Yeah, hopefully, like I'll sit and think about it, and if I come up with something else, I'll just bring it up in the next meeting.
Perfect. So yeah, Dr. Nisha, you mentioned in the chat box the question, how much did lifestyle consideration fit into choice of specialty? Can you just explain this? Then we can just discuss this question tomorrow, or anybody can explain this, and then we can discuss the answers tomorrow. It's a good question. Like it's again a tricky question.
It's like, at least the way I understand that question is pretty simple. Like think about it this way. Like there's this ongoing meme, right? Like ophthalmologist, radiologist, like and like someone else, like dermatologist, walks into a bar on a Friday afternoon because they're the only ones who have the weekends off. Yeah, so it's something like that, because like those specialties generally, they have like more standard 9 to 5 work lifestyles. They're not on, usually they're like not on call. They don't have to work weekends. Meanwhile, emergency medicine, it's typically 12-hour shifts, like every day, like especially when you're younger, it's going to be like 12-hour shifts. So that is a different lifestyle. And if you're a surgeon, like general surgery, orthopedics, then you have like more on call. You're on call, and like the situation where like you could be randomly called in the middle of the night to come in and do work. So I think that's the question that they're trying to ask. Like, what do you think internal medicine's this thing is, and like how much did like say like a lot of people like genuinely, like a lot of people prefer like radiology and dermatology because it is so chill. Like compared to the other specialties, it's pretty standard, and like you don't have to work nights and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's the question that they're trying to ask. Like, did you choose internal medicine because maybe it's like a little bit more like relaxed than like say surgery or like orthopedics, where like you're on call and like you have to like work multiple hour shifts or something like that? I think that's the question. That's what they're trying to go for.
That's one of the questions we can discuss tomorrow. Like that's again a tricky question, and we can just get everybody's point after this. I will Dr. Nisha, you can just post in the group as well, and everybody can give their idea. Maybe we have a better understanding of this question.
Okay, definitely. I just want to get it, that is it like balance between the like career and job? I mean, like balance between the medical profession and our life, personal life. Is it
that is
that?
one part. Like, see, think about it this way. Like, there's also another thing. For example, say surgery. It's very physically demanding because you have to stand and like do work for like 6 hours or like 7 hours sometimes. Like like multiple hours in a row. Not a lot of people would be able to do that, right? Like, there are some people for whom that might not be possible. So again, that's the question that they're trying to ask. Did you value that? Like, was this one of the reasons because you couldn't do, stand for 6 hours and couldn't do surgery? Is that why you chose internal medicine? I think with the question you posted, I think that's what they're trying to know. No, that's a very valid thing
Can
like
we
to
include
consider,
that?
right?
Okay. Can we include that professional satisfaction? I mean, I feel so satisfying
Yeah,
in being in this.
gratification is a good point, actually.
Yeah. Not because I'm not able to do that particular specialty, but I feel more satisfied being in a internal medicine or in a family medicine, because I can, I can do more service towards the community. I wanted to be in a hospital place. So can I include that thing?
Yeah, that sounds good. Like again, don't say like I'm less like basically how you framed it is correct. Like say you're more satisfied with internal medicine rather than saying like less satisfied than with like general surgery, because then immediately they'll ask why, and then that'll force you to say something negative, and then that's just like you don't want to be in that situation, right? So definitely like go with something more positive, more personal satisfaction. I wanted to be a hospitalist. I like the work. I like working in a community hospital. All of these are really good points.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Thank you. Thanks.
Dr. Nisha, like I would, if somebody asks me that question, like that this is what Dr. Om gave the explanation that what the question means is, I can just tell them that I have always seen myself working as a physician, internal medicine physician, and I think whatever specialty I choose, I have to live with that specialty throughout my life.
Yeah, okay, I think that's a great point.
So I just to see, so I was more comfortable working as a physician, and I never thought working in any other specialty.
Yeah.
Can I add something?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
It has nothing to do to mention surgery. I just love internal medicine. I can start it from why medicine, in other words. So that I love to go deep in knowledge, to know more about diseases. I don't have to say that I don't like to stand so much, because even hospitalists stand so much. It's a way resident work. It doesn't matter which specialty. So I think you just focus on your love, your passion, and why internal medicine. Talking more about medicine rather than talking about other specialties. This is my point of view. Thank you.
So, anybody wants to answer this, or Dr. Kash, can you just summarize the points for us, or even Dr. Om, if you want to summarize, and then we can end the meeting. Or
For this question, right? How much
if anybody wants to summarize, you can just summarize and then we can end the meeting.
So you can say that I feel like internal medicine was a perfect choice for me because
this question, like we told this one, what challenges internal medicine are going to face. Like just we can compile it once, like we did the previous question, and we can just after that we can end and we can take up 2 new questions tomorrow in the meeting.
Okay. So what difficulties would I face in the future? Again, see, there's a lot of misinformation out there, in social media or even on the internet. So I feel like that with that becoming more and more like increasing, it would definitely like have an negative impact on the health literacy of the general population, and it would also affect our management because patients might not be ready or willing to accept the correct like the ideal the evidence-based management, and AI also would definitely pose a challenge. It's still in its initial stages and it needs a lot of work there has to be a lot of work that has to be put into improving AI. So again, yeah, like just like Om said, it would create a friction between AIs. There would be a lot of friction between the AIs reports and like the doctor's opinions or ideas. And I think what was the other point? I think something about the pandemic. I think Om would. I forgot what he said. Nikki, I think you have to be more prepared for the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in
Sorry,
case.
yeah. The thing is, what I meant to say, that point was like, sorry if it wasn't clear. Basically, the pandemic sort of, exposed like the system's vulnerability both to preventing such a pandemic from happening, and how in an increased workload, like if such a pandemic were to happen again in an increased workload, how like the system would crumble because it's not designed to deal with this like increased workload. So since there's no guarantee that another pandemic will not happen in the near future, it is definitely going to be a challenge to shore up and prepare ourselves so that like we can, tackle such a event in the future. That was generally what I was trying to get across.
So I can
Hello?
yeah, Dr. Harshita, you were speaking something?
I'm Farah.
Hi, Farah, go ahead. Sorry.
So I have one more point in my mind. So you guys can give me a feedback, like if it can be a like challenge or not. I was thinking as everyone like considers to be like to do the fellowship in futures, and we need more primary care physicians. So there can be a deficiency of primary care physicians because the other subspecialties are well paid, so everybody like pursuing their careers more towards the other subspecialties. So that can increase the burden on the pre-existing physicians, and that can also lead to a patient dissatisfaction too. And I think that can be a challenging too, like as there are less primary physicians in future. I think so.
Dr. Farah, that's a very valid point, but I would personally avoid talking about the income and just show that, primary care physicians, they comparatively earn lesser than, their other counterparts in other specialties. Otherwise, this point is very valid. I would just, mention that maybe I would just simply say there's even a shortage of primary care physicians will be more in the future.
Yes, we can say that.
Instead of, I would like personally, that's my opinion for sure. Your answer is correct, but I would mention about the income that just to show them the primary care physician, they earn comparatively less than the other specialties.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Otherwise, your point is very valid. If you remove that income thing, you can just say more and more might specialize in the other specialties, put the burden of already existing primary care physicians. That's a good point.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I really like the point. This is actually something that I did think about at the start as well. I just didn't know how to like phrase it. But yeah, that's a really good point. Again, like Ayushman said, like mentioning salaries, rather than that, just say like more people desire to specialize, right? Like a lot of people desire like to specialize and like they want to specialize. That like creates like a lack of what do you call it? Like
or it will increase the burden of
primary care
already
physicians.
Primary care physicians, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm very happy with whatever salary internal medicine physicians get, but I just want that salary first.
Yeah.
I am just waiting for the day when I get a salary as an attending or maybe a hospitalist or somebody. Even as a resident, if I just get my first paycheck.
You will. Yeah, you will hopefully, yeah.
And yeah, so I think we should just end the meeting right now because we are I think 1 hour 36 minutes into the meeting because it started at 9:15. So tomorrow we can meet and we can just discuss 2 more interesting questions. Right? Thank you so much everybody for joining, and we had a very interesting meeting, and I always wait for this, like we have news at 9, so we have a meeting at 9 every day. Right, so thank you so much for joining again, and have a good day, good night, depending upon your time zones. And yeah, I'll just even search for, like, some people are posting messages, questions in the group. I will compile all of them, and we can just have even a better discussion on the on other questions as well. So thank you so much, and I'll end the meeting right now. Yeah.
Thank you, Ashma. Thank you. Thanks for your efforts.